Hello world of YouTube, and welcome to a special episode of ARC, the show where I get to be an asshole reviewing comics. And it's special for a very particular reason. Today marks the 30th anniversary of the release of Kirby's Dream Land, a game that launched the career of one of my favorite video game franchises, Kirby. And I've showed some of that love in pockets of the internet. You know, I played through Nightmare in Dreamland on the channel. It was one of the first playthroughs I ever did. I plan on doing something else with that later on this year, if not extremely soon. I'm currently playing through Tilt and Tumble on the channel. I did a Cash Boys with Shake, playing Kirby's Dream Course, one of my favorite things I've ever done on the internet. And I like Kirby in general. The character has always been a special part to me. I played through Kirby Star Stacker on the marathon, and I figured on the channel I would get nostalgia with Kirby by talking about a one-of-a-kind thing that's also very personal to me. You know, because Kirby and I, we're both turning 30 this year. I'm going to get a little personal and share a comic that I drew at a very young age. It is a five-part comic of the ongoing saga of Blade Knight, one of the minions of Kirby, like the main little guys, the guy that gives you the sword abilities, ongoing battle with Meta Knight, which I think we just called the Battle of Meta Knight. This was created by me and my buddy Landon, who I actually mentioned on the Cash Boys of Kirby Dream Course.
Me and Landon used to like make comic books.
Shout out to Landon.
And he and I bonded over our love of Kirby. And that was like a very special thing to us. And today I wanted to kind of just talk about that. You know, I don't have the first comic. I thought I did somewhere, but I don't know where it's at. It was on a big yellow construction paper. And it was going to be like an eye-catching sort of top to this. Because now I just got the back end of the first issue. I don't even have the whole first issue anymore. But we used to draw comics together, me and Landon. We drew, we had our own superhero, Tornado Man. And I think he had a sidekick, Hurricane Boy, but that's not the subject of today's video, Tornado Man and Hurricane Boy. Instead, we're going to be talking about our love of Kirby. We actually drew a handful of Kirby comics back then. We didn't just do this Meta Knight saga. We also just did our own fan version of the first game, just laying out the battles that Kirby faced in our own sort of spin, interpretation, novelization of the game. Listen, we were just kids who liked to draw. We liked to doodle. Kirby is fun to doodle, and so are some of the other Kirby characters. And I actually would like to draw more Kirby art, because I like drawing Kirby art. It's a lot of fun.
And here's a picture of the little Kirbys. It might be hard for you guys to see them, but there's our little Kirbys.
I mean, it starts off simple, so me missing the first page isn't like, I mean, like, for plot's sake, it's not too bad, because even at the end of the first comic, we've got the sword fights still going on strong. It only sets up the plot, which I'm pretty sure, because we were just kids, we were like in 4th grade when we wrote this, Blade Knight just wanted to square up on Meta Knight. He was like, yo, bro, I'm tired of being a basic bitch bad guy. I want to be you. I want to beat your ass and take your title. And Meta Knight was like, bring it, dude. Let's see if you got what it takes. And, so he tried, and, he succeeded. Our Blade Knight, which doesn't look at all accurate to the games, Blade Knight looks like this. Ours looks like a square boy, who's just, square with a triangle face. We got the triangle face right. But, we just got sword fighting Magoo going on here. This is the end of the sword fight. And then he gets stabbed in the head, because we were in 4th grade, sure. Stab in the head, that's totally normal. And then he sprouts his wings, that's like his second form. But then he gets like a wave beam move. And then Blade Knight gets like this lightning move for some reason. And the dialogue is not, where did you learn that? It's a good question, Meta Knight. But then Blade Knight's like, you, dude, I've been watching you. I want to take your crown. Now to finish you. And then he generates his own arm blade and slashes Meta Knight in half, to which he says, I'll be back. And we got a little Arnold Schwarzenegger cameo, which makes no sense. Arnold Schwarzenegger does not exist in Kirby. We made it happen. Congratulations to 4th grade me and Landon, I guess. And then Simir is the one that brings him back. And this is the end, and we came up with like these other mini comics as well. We had like our own characters who cameo in part 2. But this story picks up with not even Simir. Simir's gone. That was like that weird sequel bait that movies do, and we don't even factor in it. We're like, ah, fuck it. No, he just comes back to life. He just digs himself out of the ground. He's like, no, I'm not done. That little nose sticking out the ground, it's actually Meta Knight's hand. And it even says, like, last time we saw Meta Knight, he was dead. He's at the dump. Totally pulling a Turtles 2 out of this. Or so we thought. And this is where we canonically say Meta Knight gets the little notches that are in his mask. And he's trying to overthrow Blade Knight with the help of these guys. These 4 guys being Biospark, because we liked the ninja power, obviously, because again, we were kids. This is supposed to be Bugsy, and I only know that because it's not Bugsy, but I know that we liked Bugsy, and so he's actually a bull guy. We changed Bugsy to a bull guy. Again, just taking liberties in our Kirby fan comic. And then, to make it even worse, these other 2 bozos are creations of Landon and I's design. They're like Tornado Man's arch nemesis. He's like a blizzard guy, I think, or he's like a cold guy. No, he's not, because that's a wave. That's Captain Wave or something like that. That's a giant wave, even though it's just a curvy guy with weird hair. And then this is like another weather-based villain, because we were all about weather-based superheroes for some reason when we were kids. And then he fights them like Kirby 1 style in just a bunch of fights. He like freezes the wave guy with these ice balls that again he has for some reason. He just scares away the other guy. He jumps over the horn guy, then cuts him in half, because of course he does. And then he just endures a backstab from Biospark before anticlimactically cutting up a Meta Knight's head and throwing him in a ditch. But after throwing him into a grave, and he isn't dead, he was disposed of too quickly, he gets a second revenge, where he comes out of the grave, abducts Blade Knight from his castle with some random-ass crane that he just dips in there before they fight, which has a censor warning, by the way. We put like a due to graphic nature, remove your kids, as we were kids drawing this. Which, like, we draw like a sword fight where the swords bend into each other, because we didn't know how to draw just swords slashing in a good fashion, in a conveyable fashion, before they have a staring contest. And he blinks, and Meta Knight loses because he blinks. And then he gets a shotgun. Blade Knight just shoots him with a shotgun. He turns into bat mode, he shoots him again. And he throws him off a cliff and drops a sword on him. To, like, cement him there. What the fuck? He's not done. He doesn't just get 2 revenges. He gets a 3rd revenge. Where we find out his sword missed. I don't remember the time frame at which we drew all of these, but it couldn't have been that far apart from each other. There's no reason why me and Landon drew this many comic books of Meta Knight without it being just within the span of, like, a school week. This was, like, our week at school. We drew these Meta Knight comics, where it gets even crazier, because he falls in the pit. He missed. So what does Meta Knight do? He gets a robot. That's a robot. To fight Blade Knight. Blade Knight. Okay. I mean, granted, this Blade Knight's busted. He's got ice moves. He's got shotguns. He's got shurikens that he then transitions to using shotguns. And these giant metal balls. Which I like. I mean, this shot, come on. This drawing, come on. The robot falls, and so he crashes out the window curled in a ball. Come on. That's some high-quality action. Before they just have a slam fest. Or they're just chucking each other. Before, again, they just resort to Dragon Ball Z beams. Because, of course, they did. And I don't have the end of this one either. That's another comic that I'm missing. Because there is another one. There's one more. This is the last one. I remember this being the last one because it's got so much more weird shit going on. It starts off, somehow, they buried him with a grave, which then lightning strikes and resurrects him again into this zombie Meta Knight. There's new canon now. There's a zombie Meta Knight who interrupts Blade Knight's nightly viewing of G4's X-Play.
Today on X-Play.
This had to have been drawn around Halloween, because there's like a horror setup. There's like a knock-knock, and then zombie Meta Knight's at the door, at the peephole, which he's on a ladder to look at, and then his power's cut off, and he's like freaking out, and then he sees him again, and he's even more deformed. He's got this like chicken, and these guys are fighting over cheese, and this whole 4th issue is actually hijacked by this stage crew who have been in the dialogue up here. There's been like an inner monologue, like wasn't expecting that, like the vocal or like the narrators of the comic that you would see in white panels. We have them too, but now they're fighting over cheese in the background, and that's what's going on. Like he's normal now because now they're focused on the cheese, and they're all fighting for the cheese back here. So much so that the 2 main characters are falling asleep from the people fighting backstage, the narrators of the comic. And then a mouse comes in and steals the cheese. What is this comic? Why did we draw this? What happened to the narrative? This is so... I mean, it's a funny bit, and I guess there must be another part to this that I lost, because this ends with them fighting all the people backstage, the narrators, because after they were fighting the cheese, they were commanding they fight, so then they fought them instead. I hadn't looked at those in so long. Even to do this video, I was intentionally not looking at them and just sort of getting like a weird nostalgia rush on camera with you guys. Yeah, these comics were weird. I don't know why me and Landon drew these, but they were obviously a very special part of my life because I've kept them for almost 20 years. These comics are almost 20 years old. The memory of them is now cemented on here, I guess, for you guys to enjoy. I kind of wish Nintendo... I mean, I'm sure Nintendo has made like a Kirby comic or a Kirby manga, but I would love to read it if they did have one. This is more just sort of a celebration of Kirby as a giant fan. If it wasn't evident by me pulling dudes like Biospark and creating a 5-part comic about one of the side characters. This would be like if a Koopa Troopa was like, I want to be the next Bowser, or I want to be the next Magikoopa. And so they fought, like a Koopa Troopa fought Magikoopa. Be like the same principle. But then like the Koopa wins, and so the narrative becomes Magikoopa getting his title back. Which I remember, we never give Meta Knight his title back. That is how it ends. I think Meta Knight just finally dies. Like, we just stopped bringing him back. But Meta Knight was like his own Michael Myers back when I was a kid. He just kept coming back, fighting Blade Knight to get his title back from that man. Did you ever do this? Did you ever draw comics when you were a kid? Did you ever come up with your own adventures with the games or things that you read as a kid? Obviously, I still do that on the channel. This was just one of the earliest forms of that. That time, me and Landon made Kirby fanfic of Blade Knight and Meta Knight's ongoing war. What did you think about it? Did you think it was weird? Did you think this video was weird? Let me know in the comments down below. This was almost a classic breakdown on Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland, and I decided this would be a better video. Let me know if you thought so. Let me know how you would, what characters you would want to see in their own sort of in-universe squabble like that wouldn't normally fight. Let me know in the comments down below. But I'm going to go. If you like this, give it a like. Happy birthday, Kirby. Special thanks to my patrons. My playlist is up there. The Rachel's Game Corner is already up there. Next month's It Takes Two. I'm going to be retooling the Patreon in May, because I'll have been on Patreon for like 3 years at this point. And I want to kind of retool it to sort of shape what I more want to get out of it. A lot of the things will be the same, but it may just be a different sort of process. I don't know. I'm retooling the Patreon. I'm still doing Patron Appreciation Month. And I'm still here. Thank you for watching. I've been Viral Rack. You guys have good days, lives, and situations. And I'll see you another day.